We are excited to have you on our webinar that is Navigating Successful Shipping. So whether you're just getting started or looking to streamline your current process, today's session is packed with practical tips and insights to help you save time, reduce costs, and deliver a better experience to customers. We're so excited to have Kirk and Aaron, and before we introduce them, we want to make sure that we keep our chat live today. So if shipping were your travel buddy, how's the trip going? And so please drop either A, B, or C, or if you like to have a little fun, drop us the emoji in the chat to let us know how your shipping is going. And then our featured sponsor today is Copycat, and we're proud to highlight them as our spotlight sponsor. They are an incredible sponsor located in Kearney, Nebraska, and they're really your one-stop shop for high-quality printing, design, signage, and promotional products. So whether you need business cards, banners, or custom apparel, their friendly and experienced team brings your vision to life on time and on a budget. So trusted by local businesses and organizations alike, Copycat Printing helps brands stand out and get noticed.
And our featured member is Mila Vista Winery. They've been a member with Grow since 2024, and they're up in St. Paul, Nebraska, and they have some award-winning wine, and they have a really great view down at their winery. And so if you're a wine lover or just love to explore fun parts of Nebraska, I'd encourage you to go visit their tasting room or either shop their wines online as well. Definitely a very fun, kind of out of the way spot to enjoy the summer. But if you are ever interested in learning more about Grow Nebraska, Cami and I would love to set up a call with you to just go more in depth about some of these highlights I have listed here on this page on how you guys can continue to scale your business. And we love to partner with businesses. We love to provide them resources. And so we just love to have that conversation. And so feel free in the follow-up email that we'll send out today, feel free to just let us know if you're interested in setting up a call and we'll get one set up. But I want to make sure Aaron and Kirk have some time to speak. And so I'm going to pass that on over to them. We're super excited to learn from you both today.
All right. Thank you, guys. So welcome. My name is Erin Malzer, and my husband and I, Kirk, own Fat Boy Barbecue based in Hickman, Nebraska. And we're going to talk to you today about Shipping Success Unveiled, Expert Tips and Tricks. We have been shipping our product for
12 years, 13 years.
13 years now. And we've done everything from glass to plastic, to pallets, to wholesale, to direct to consumer. So we have done it all.
They usually have us give this presentation because we pretty much screwed everything up you can possibly screw up in our journey to get better. So hopefully we can help you avoid some of the pitfalls that we've had.
Just a little bit about us. We've been in business since 2002. Kirk and I have owned it since 2013. Our product is available in 40 states, including major retailers like Kroger and Hy-Vee. We're based in Hickman, which is just south of Lincoln. And as I said, we have experience with all kinds of shipping, e-commerce, wholesale, and pallets to distributors. We also do a lot on e-commerce shipping. So we have a website, an Amazon.com store, a Walmart store, an eBay store, and more. If you haven't used a program to help you ship, you need to start using one. So we chose one called shippingeasy.com. I know that's one that Grow Nebraska uses as well. There's also ShipStation and others out there. Pirate Ship is a really good one. So Pirate Ship actually does not charge you a monthly fee like Shipping Easy and ShipStation do. The one downfall to it is if you're a fairly large Amazon seller, they don't allow you to import your Amazon orders into the system. So we sell quite a bit on Amazon, which is why we do Shipping Easy. basically what it will do is it'll import all of your orders. So we connect our numerous websites, our Amazon store, our Walmart store, and it all feeds in. So when we come in the morning, we can just go to Shipping Easy and it'll pull in every single order we have from all of our platforms in one place. And then they also have negotiated rates. So it's going to be much cheaper for you to use one of these programs than to go to the post office. When you go to the post office, they're charging you a retail rate. If you buy your postage online at the post office, they're still charging you a retail rate. They used to have a slightly negotiated rate if you went online. They got rid of that, I wouldn't say right before COVID, maybe 5 years ago. So yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about negotiated rates, Kirk?
Well, it's what we always say is don't be afraid to ask. We like I'm sure a lot of you, we were shipping, we were trying to figure it out, and I mean, let's be honest, it's pretty dang expensive. Rates have not gone down. Of course, they've done nothing but go up. Since we ship on basically just about every shipper that you can, we started kind of getting the phone calls, hey, how can we get more of your business? And we have told everybody from UPS to FedEx to Speedy Delivery to the Postal Service to everybody, it all flat comes down to price. We have our customers pick which shipping that they would like to use from our websites. So what we did then is went back to those folks and said, this is how much we ship. You know, this is our average packages that go out. These are the weights. This is how much we're spending on shipping right now, and make them bid against each other. The best thing that you can do is find a local rep. UPS, FedEx, everybody has one just about everywhere. Wherever you are, there's got to be a rep that takes care of that territory. If you want, we can help you find those people. We have some connections to do that. And then that's when you start that conversation. If they see the benefit in it, which most of them do, that you're going to be using them on a consistent basis, then you can ask for those negotiated rates. Sometimes our rates that we have are a little bit better than the Shipping Easy rates that we have. Sometimes they're not. So we kind of take a look at both. But it's one of those deals where the worst thing that can possibly happen is they can say no. The best thing that can happen is you save some money on your rates. So do not be afraid to ask. We were for quite a while just, swimming, trying to get stuff out. Especially, you get that Monday morning with all your orders coming in over the weekend. It's just get it in, let's go, because we have to get it shipped. When you kind of sit down, you take a minute, you reflect on it, and you figure out the best way to work on the business and not in the business for shipping. That's when you can start to save that stuff. The buy on rates are not always the best. The buy shipping on Amazon or buy shipping on Spotify. They mark that stuff up too. They're a middleman for it. So what we tried to do as much as physically possible is cut out that middleman. We negotiate our own rates, and then we compare them with the very good rates that Shipping Easy gives us and find out which way's cheaper. But yeah, never ever be afraid to ask. It's your business. You make the calls. It's your company. So make sure that you do what you can to run it as effectively as possible and get your customers the best rates.
So I'll give an example. My friend works at a place here in Hickman called J Boutique, and they sell a lot of like t-shirts and sweatshirts and stuff. And she was telling me how it just amazed her how people even in town, I mean, it's a town of 3,000 people, but people in town were buying online and wanted it delivered to their door. They didn't want to come down to the store. And so she's like, it's ridiculous. I'm paying like $9 to ship something in Hickman. And I said, $9? That's ridiculous. I said, you should be paying like six something. So I said, well, how are you buying your shipping? And she said, well, I'm just buying it through Shopify. I said, you need to call Shopify. So she gets back to me a couple days later and she says, I called Shopify and they said, oh, yeah, we can get you a lower rate. It looks like you're shipping quite a bit. And I said, they don't just automatically give it to you? And she said, no, I had to call and I had to ask specifically for the lower rate. So just make sure that if you're using something like Shopify, that you're working with them to get the best rate that you can. So how do you get in contact with reps in your area? So we can, you can try calling the 800 number for UPS or FedEx. You can start there, or call, like, if you have a local UPS store, you can call there and just see if they can hook you up with their local rep. Same with FedEx, right? A lot of places have local area. So like if you're in Western Nebraska and your closest FedEx store is in Kearney, I would just call the Kearney store, the FedEx store, and ask if they can hook you up with a rep. If they can't, we have some connections. I just got a new FedEx rep, and he was supposed to email me and he never did. So I don't know how to get a hold of him. But I do have a connection with UPS. So you can email the info@grownebraska.org, and we'll go ahead and we can get you that info. All right. Boxes and packing materials. We get asked a lot, should we reuse boxes? It's a personal choice. As business owners, we know that the economy can be rough sometimes, and adding that extra cost in getting boxes can be costly. Especially like we have a dock, so we can order Uline and have it delivered, and we don't have this extra shipping cost and stuff. So for us, it's not terrible. But I know for a lot of you, if you have a home-based business, you can't just call Uline and get,
Can I get a pallet of boxes,
pallet of
please? Yeah.
boxes, and you don't have a place to put them. So I know Grow Nebraska uses boxes. I don't think there's any shame in it. A lot of people have started doing it just because of cost, and because why not, right? If you don't have local recycling or something.
And why not reuse it? We ship a lot of packages, and we have never had anybody email back in and say, I got a used box.
Right.
And actually some people have emailed in and said that they appreciate it, that you're reusing stuff and not using new all the time. Just make sure that you clean up the boxes. If there's say a FedEx tag on there or a UPS tag on there, you need to either mark it out or take that tag off. That can be confusing for the drivers and confusing for the distribution centers that send them out. So make sure all that stuff's gone off of there, or at least marked through, so they can't scan the wrong code. They can't scan something that may come back to you rather than your customer, which can cause some issues. But if you do that stuff, most people are pretty accepting of reused boxes.
And if you look on UPS boxes, there is an extra sticker that they put on that helps them figure out what truck it needs to go on. So you need to make sure to remove that as well. I have a friend who's a UPS driver, and he always says, please, people, please take that off, because otherwise it gets at the wrong truck or in the wrong place. So just make sure that you do that.
When you do that, you have to be careful on the whole box scenario, because someone that I know I've now deemed as a box hoarder, which is
Me.
her.
I'm the box hoarder.
We have a section of our warehouse with an ungodly amount of boxes we will probably never use.
I'm gonna donate a bunch of them to Grow Nebraska.
Okay. That's fantastic.
I just haven't been out to Kearney lately to take them. USPS rules on sauces and claims. So if you have a sauce product,
any liquid product,
any liquid,
yeah.
If you send a postal service, you are technically supposed to put it in a Ziploc bag, so that if it breaks, it doesn't get everywhere. You're supposed to. We did for a while. But we switched from glass to plastic, and so we had a lot less breakage. Yeah. I would recommend, if you have a heavy glass product, that you may want to consider doing that, because then if it does break, first of all, it doesn't get all over everything and destroy the entire package. And second of all, it's messy. Also, never put fragile on your packages. I know it sounds ridiculous. It actually makes them kind of treat it less.
They want to see if it's actually fragile.
Yeah. But what I have found is, if you get stickers that say liquid enclosed, or liquid, they will then treat your box very nicely, because they don't want to clean up the mess, right? So they are not going to kick it. because they don't want to have to go to a stop and try to, my UPS guy has taken regs from us, like, do you guys have regs? Because I have a mess in my truck. They don't want to have to do that. So that's kind of a little trick that we found.
Also on the glass scenario, if you're putting them in some type of a Ziploc or something else to keep them separated, if something breaks in a box, like say you have 6 items in a box, one breaks, usually if it gets on the other 5, they will discard all of them.
And then not pay you the claim.
And not pay you the claim.
Because they say what they will say is you didn't pack it well enough.
So that's kind of a way around getting losing all 6 rather than losing 1 or 2. So you can save a little bit that way. Your customers at least get something, and then you only have to replace 2 bottles. You don't have to replace 6. So that's another advantage to doing that. If you are in glass, we've had, over the years, we've had a lot of them that's happened, or we've gotten stuff back that, there's a case of something that went out, like 12 in a case, one broke, and everything label wise and everything else is ruined on the other 11. So it kind of helps you that way. You can save some product, you can save some customer angst to go ahead and wrap that glass stuff up. It is a pain. I'm not going to lie and say that it's my favorite thing to do, because it's not, but we have seen the benefit over the years of doing it.
And just remember, when glass touches glass, that's when glass breaks. So if you have glass, make sure that you're wrapping it in bubble wrap and you have something in between, whether that's cardboard, peanuts, paper, something. And also, Priority used to have more insurance in it. The Postal Service is essentially this year getting rid of Priority, I think because nobody was using it.
Right.
Everybody kind of switched to Ground Advantage, and that's what we use. That and UPS Smart Post is mostly what we use in our business. Smart Post used to not be great, but they have greatly improved that service over the last about 3 years. So don't be scared to use it. And that's the next point, is UPS is not just UPS anymore. So what Smart Post is UPS will pick it up, or you drop it off at the UPS store. But 50% of the time the UPS will deliver it, and 50% of the time the Postal Service will deliver it. One of the only issues that I have found, and I think people are getting more used to it because we get fewer questions, but they expect, because you send them a UPS tracking code, that it's going to show up on their front door. And then it says it delivers, and they go to their front door and it's not there. And they immediately contact you and say, this didn't deliver, it said it delivered. And then you have to tell them, go look in your mailbox, because the Postal Service delivered it. And then they go to their mailbox and they find it. So it can increase the number of contacts that you get, which isn't always a bad thing, because you're talking to your customer. But like I said, over the past, I'd say 1.5 years, that's greatly reduced.
A lot.
And then there's also FedEx, and FedEx this year also came up with a similar to UPS Smart Post, and I forget what it is. I think it's FedEx. It might be Smart Post too. I don't know, but it's basically the exact same thing. And I have not utilized that service yet because I don't know how to get a hold of my FedEx rep. But that is something that is new this year. And then there's also local carriers. So Speedy Delivery. Let me see if I can get all the states right. North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Minnesota, Wisconsin, parts of
Illinois.
Is it Illinois?
Parts of Missouri.
Parts of Missouri. They're in Kansas City now.
St. Louis.
St. Louis. So they are based out of Minnesota. And we have a daily pickup with Speedy. Their prices, if we're shipping in Lincoln or Omaha, they do beat the Postal Service or UPS. Outside of that, they used to always beat everybody. And about 3 years ago, they raised their prices where they're not, but it is another option. But a lot of third-party sites don't allow them. So if you're on Amazon, eBay, Walmart, Target, you have to use UPS, basically UPS, FedEx, or postal service, and DHL is another option. They're a little harder to get negotiated rates with.
Yes.
But if you're doing international, they're quite good for international shipments. If you have a lot of products or a lot of shipments, you can schedule daily pickups even at your house. So you don't have to have a commercial address, especially with the postal service. If you're too close to the post office, like we are here in Hickman, they will not pick up from you. So we have to go to the post office every day because we are, quote, too close.
We have a golf cart. It's cool.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's like 2 blocks. But you can do that. So you're not having to drive to the store every day.
And if you're using the Shipping Easy or one of those other programs, it's just very simple. When you schedule a UPS, it just asks you if you want to schedule a pickup or not. If you just got a couple and you just want to drop them off, great. If you want to schedule a pickup, you can hit it. Usually you have to do that by noon so they can pick up same day. If it's afternoon, then the pickup will be the next day.
Yep. And you keep in mind that a lot of grocery stores now will actually take packages. So like if we forget to go, our post office has really weird hours here in Hickman. So if we forget to go by 4, I'm driving to the Hy-Vee because Hy-Vee will take my my postal service. UPS stores will also take postal service. So if you're using both UPS and the postal service, you can drop everything off at the UPS store and the postal service will pick up there. And if you're going to go into a store to buy your shipping, just know that you will always 100% of the time be paying more money. Like I said, they have retail rates, and UPS especially can get very pricey if you go into the store. So that's why it's important to try to use a program like Pirate Ship. If you don't ship a lot, I'd recommend Pirate Ship because it doesn't cost you a monthly fee and you're going to get those negotiated rates. You can print the label off at your house and you can drop it off at the UPS store, and it's going to cost you a lot less money.
Much.
Beware of will set you up schemes. Last year we spent $44,000 on shipping, and these schemes can cost you 66. So what they'll do, and FedEx is kind of the most notorious for this, but what FedEx will do is they'll come in and they'll say, oh, it'll be great. I'll give you a printer and I'll give you free labels and you can just use us for everything. But you know, you may spend $9 a package with FedEx when you could spend $6.50 with the Postal Service. So the scheme is that they get you to try to not price shop and just utilize them for the convenience. And I don't know if they do this as much now than they used to because people are kind of waking up to the fact that, you know, maybe I need to be price shopping. And when I talk to people about negotiating rates, they're always like, well, what's the most important thing? And I always say price. They're like, not service or anything. I said, no, you all have the same service. It comes down to price. And there was a time when they didn't all have the same service, but essentially now they all have the same service. So,
and it's value for your customer that's buying whatever they're buying. We're all in business here. We all know that, you know, if somebody buys a $6.99 item and they buy one of them, it's probably going to cost the same amount to ship it. That's just, it's what stuff costs. What we try and do and try and help other folks with is when you do talk about that, like Aaron said, with those rates, it's 100% price. You know, if you can knock a buck off of that by sending it another way, that's either a buck you're saving your customer or $1 that you can put back into your pocket, one of the two, whichever you choose, or 50 cents and 50 cents if you want. People do look at that. We're kind of in a society where I'll say Amazon ruined shipping because free shipping on Amazon is not free shipping. It's built into the price of the product. If you go to our website and you buy one of our rubs and you pay to have it shipped, I can tell you within a few cents, that's how much it costs on Amazon with free shipping. kind of the old adage, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Well, there's no such thing as free shipping. Somebody's got to pay for it somewhere. So what we try and do, what we try and help other folks do is save as much as they can on it. So like we said, you can either deduct that from what your customer charges, or you can actually make a little bit more money. We have a line on our P&L for shipping, and we can track how much money we have made or lost throughout the entire year. So we can kind of take a look at our shipping rates mid-year, and if we are spending more in shipping than we are collecting from customers, we want to balance that out. If we are making a lot more profit than we want to make on our shipping, and I know that's kind of weird to say, we all want to make a lot of profit, but that means our shipping rates are too high. And the issue is with all of the products that all of us kind of have, shipping rates determine whether the customer buys it or not. So we have to keep those competitive. There's not a lot of folks that are going to spend more to ship it than they spend on the product. So we have to be mindful, and we have to keep that kind of always, top of mind, that we need to make sure that we're at least even on shipping. The customer's paying what it costs, but we don't want to mark it up so much that they're not going to purchase it.
Well, and keep in mind that your shipping cost is more than the actual shipping cost. It's your box cost, it's your tape cost, it's your peanut cost, it's your time cost. So we recently switched we had kind of a flat rate shipping for a very long time, and we did switch it this year back to a calculated shipping because we looked at the numbers, and we quite frankly couldn't eat it anymore. So we did change it a bit. And we've had a few complaints. You're always going to have some. There's some people that think shipping should always be free, and they will complain about the shipping cost. You have to remember to tell people that if you buy multiple items in my shopping cart, the shipping's not going to be that much more if it's calculated. So that's usually what I come back and tell people. They buy one item. This is ridiculous to ship one item. And I always say, well, if you've added like 3 more items, it would cost you maybe $1 more in shipping. Because that's just how shipping costs work. So just a few tips if you ever get any people, calling you. If you have an e-commerce store, these are the things that you're going to need to get set up to ship e-commerce. You're going to want a label printer and labels. You can do it on a regular printer. We ship enough that we find it much more convenient to just have a label printer. You can buy one on Amazon. It is, a couple $100 one time, but they don't run out of ink. So a lot of them are thermal. So you don't ever have to replace the ink, and you just need to replace the labels. It does make it a lot easier. You just peel off the sticker and stick it on your package. We use Zebra brand, but there's a lot of different ones out there. You need a computer, and we recommend a PC. We are Apple people here at Fat Boy. However, if for shipping programs, they are not Apple friendly. So we have 3 PCs in our shipping department that we have all the shipping programs on. You don't need anything expensive at all. It doesn't need to be very powerful. It just needs to be able to run shipping programs. So you obviously need boxes, which we discussed a little bit already. You'll need some packing materials, whether that's peanuts, bags, bubble wrap. Again, you can reuse some of those things. If you have glass, I do recommend peanuts. They just are more friendly for glass items. You'll need tape and a tape gun. You're going to want decent tape, and you're going to want pretty wide tape. You're going to want probably better than the $1.99 packing tape from Walmart. So I would, go find something a little more robust than that. You're going to need a scale, because you're going to have to put the weight in for every package. And most importantly, you're going to need a tape measure. You always, always, always want to put the package dimensions in your shipping program. Prices are based on zip code and the size of the package and the weight. If you don't put in the dimensions and say it's $10, you might be surprised that when you do put in the dimensions, that drops to $8. So it can really make a huge, huge difference on the price that you're going to pay for shipping.
We used to send a lot of our barbecue rubs in a 9x6x4 box. And then one time by accident, I think it was, we got 9x6x3 boxes. those packages are $1 less to ship.
And it's
So-
now the main box
Yeah.
size that we use because it fits several of our items. And so we're saving $1 a package. And if you're shipping even 10 packages a day, that's $10 a day times 5 days in a week. That's $50 times 4 weeks. That's $200. So it really, really does add up. And that is the most, if you don't take anything away from today, that's the one thing I think you should take away is always put in your package dimensions when you're shipping. We're going to talk a little bit about third-party sites. We get a lot of questions about that. Not only do we have our own Amazon store, but we actually help other people with their Amazon stores. So we have a lot of experience with Amazon. Just to give you a little quick overview, we get a lot of questions about fulfilled by Amazon versus fulfilled by merchant. So fulfilled by Amazon, when you see Prime, that means Amazon is shipping it, right? So they have to have that product in their warehouse facility in order for anything to go Prime. As an example, if you have a fulfilled by Amazon at $9.99, Amazon is going to take $4.11 of that, and you're going to get $5.88. Keep in mind, you had to pay to send the product to Amazon. So you're probably actually getting closer to $5 or a little bit less. If you ship it, it's $9.99. Amazon only takes 80 cents and you get $9.19, but you're buying your box, which is 45 cents. Your peanuts might be $1. Your shipping is going to be $4.43. And actually that's higher now. Plus your label and your monthly subscription. So now you're only getting $3.31. So you have to do the math. And there's calculators out there. They're a little harder. I tried to find one the other day. Did you try to find one?
Yeah, they're starting to bury
They're
them.
starting to bury them. There are calculators out there that will help you determine whether you should do fulfilled by Amazon or fulfilled by merchant. I will tell you that there are a lot of people that only buy fulfilled by Amazon. So not to say that you should never, we actually do both. So I have listings for both. So if my fulfilled by Amazon runs out, it defaults back to my fulfilled by merchant. So I can still send the product. But just be aware that Amazon does take that much money. So a lot of times you may only end up with 50% of what the cost is. So it's important that you understand what they're taking so that you don't lose your. A lot of times I go on Amazon and I look at what some of these items are selling for fulfilled by Amazon. And I look at Kirk and I say, you and I both know they aren't doing the math on this because they have to be losing their money. Like, I mean, we've been doing this long enough. We know what the numbers are and they absolutely have to be losing money on it. So just make sure that you're not losing money. FBA will give you a large amount of new customers. When we're at peak, we'll get up to 300 new customers a month on Amazon. And that's just a customer base that we otherwise probably wouldn't be able to get. And if you're on Amazon, 100% you need to advertise. We hire somebody to do that. I know Grow hires somebody to do theirs as well. You can do it yourself, but you will need to have some sort of advertising.
And also on that new customer acquisition, those 300 or so folks, it's kind of a gray area. They don't want you to put stuff in the box. They don't want you to put advertising in the box.
But everybody puts advertising.
But everybody does. They're not going to know. So what we try and do is we try and take those 300 customers in a month and we try and convert them back over to our website. You can offer a coupon. You can just simply put your web address on just like you can print business cards very, very cheaply, Vistaprint, whatever. You can put your website on there and maybe a coupon code or something if they want to order in your website. Because looking at the numbers that are up there, obviously you make more off of your website. So if you can convert those people over to website customers from Amazon customers, it's bonus for you.
Mm-hmm. And should you include shipping in the price? You don't have to. I would recommend you do just because people expect free shipping on Amazon. We do it on ours. We do it on our stuff. You don't have to. I know a lot of the Grow listings don't. There's pros and cons. So if someone buys multiple, it will calculate like an e-commerce site will on Amazon. So if you add 3 items, the shipping may only be like $1 more. Whereas if the shipping is included, they're paying that elevated shipping per item, which can get costly. So it really depends on your product. And if you're a Grow Nebraska member, that's something that Grow can help you determine what your pricing strategy should be. That's what they're there for. So if you need that service, reach out to Grow Nebraska. Walmart also does fulfill by Walmart. The one main difference with Walmart is if you do fulfill by Walmart, you cannot ship that same item yourself. So on Amazon, you can do a listing for both like we do. On Walmart, if you do fulfill by Walmart, you no longer have the ability to ship the product yourself. So we have chosen in our business to just ship it ourselves. But they do take the same percentage. Walmart used to take a little bit less percentage than Amazon, and then they just price match them. We are also starting to sell on Temu, and they pretty much do the same. Like they all take the same percentages. The percentages are based on what category you're in, but they all pretty much follow the same numbers. This is a list of third-party sites that you can be on: eBay, Etsy, Newegg, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Lowe's.com, HomeDepot.com, wholesale sites like Fair.com, and Temu is actually doing a big push in the United States now, where everything on that particular app will be made and shipped within the United States. So that is something that we are getting on the early boat on. So you will start to see more of that. Fair.com is a little interesting. They will tell you when you sign up for Fair that you can't sell on Amazon. That's a lie. You can still sell on Amazon. You can choose not to, but I have talked to more than a few people who are terrified that Fair.com is going to kick them off if they sell on Amazon. They are not going to. And quite frankly, they're just saying that so that they get the business. So,
It's your business and nobody can determine where you can sell your product and where you can't.
correct. So don't be scared by that. If you choose not to be sold on Amazon, that's fine. But it is not a requirement to be on Fair.com. Fair does take 15%. I don't sell a lot on Fair because I charge that 15% back. And we do enough wholesale business in our personal business that they just come direct to us typically. It can be a good resource though if you're getting started in wholesale, but just keep in mind that they are going to take 15% of an already reduced rate, right? Because wholesale is not your retail price, it's less than your retail price. So it's already a reduced rate and they're going to take 15% of that. So just make sure that your pricing strategy makes it so that you're not losing money.
Erin's thing that she said, if you take one thing away, it's measure your packages. For me, if you take one thing away from this, wherever you're selling, do the math. I always say mathing is hard, but mathing is the difference between being able to ship stuff and stay in business and not. So make sure that you're doing that due diligence, you're doing the math. The best way for me to do it through stores or these sites or anything else is I work backwards. You figure out what it's going to sell for, you figure out who takes what money goes where, and then what you're left with is your net margin. If that is an amount that you are comfortable with, then awesome, do it. If that's an amount that you're not comfortable with, you need to look at the pricing strategy again and figure out if you're actually charging what you need to charge or not. You can get into a situation when you're not mathing and you're not doing it correctly, where all of a sudden you wake up one day and say, I'm not making any money. What the hell's going on here? So make sure that you do that and check it often. Prices change, percentages change, fees change, shipping costs change. Take a look at that stuff, maybe not every month, but every couple. Take a look at it and make sure that everything is still where you want it to be. Because those little itty bitty changes here and there, they just chip a little bit of that margin away, and then a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And pretty soon you're looking at it and you're running flat and you're not being profitable anymore. So doing the math and staying on top of that keeps you out of that situation.
We know from experience.
We know from experience.
Wholesale shipping. So when you get negotiated rates from someone like UPS or FedEx, there is small package rates and there are larger package rates, and they're typically completely different. So for us, our UPS, that account that we inherited from the previous owner has been around since 2002. So we have very good negotiated rates because we have a long history with UPS. But it's really only good on larger packages to commercial addresses. And that is where most of our wholesale stuff goes. So when you're doing your negotiated rates, just make sure you're telling them, oh, I'm doing more e-commerce or I'm doing more wholesale. I'm typically doing this box size, and they will ask you those questions. And that is why. With the bigger box sizes, it is imperative that you do some sort of negotiated rate, because the bigger the box, the more expensive the shipping. So you need to get those down. Again, you can save boxes, you can buy boxes, make sure you get really good tape, because those heavier boxes, you got to make sure that tape holds. Make sure you have plenty of packing material in there, and look to find the best rate, so shop it around, and always file claims when you can. They don't pay out a ton of claims, but you should always claim. And
Any damaged product, we always ask, whether it's wholesale shipping or consumer shipping or e-commerce shipping, whatever it is. When we get notification that there's an issue, the first thing we always do is have the customer take a picture. And we always make sure it's not, hey, I don't believe you that it broke and all the other kind of stuff like that. We always put it as, if you would please take a picture and send it to us for our claim.
And that gets people to send a picture, because unfortunately in our society today, there are a lot of people who just say they didn't receive it, or say that it was broken, just to try to get free products. So it's not actually broken. They do this to multiple vendors. About 50% of the time when we ask on Amazon, we get pictures, and about 50% of the time you never hear from them again, which tells me that at that point they were probably trying to scam me.
Either way is a win for us.
Either way is a win. But that's a really nice way to try to get pictures from people. I usually say, please send me pictures for my insurance claim. Once I receive that, we will look into reimbursing or resending the product. Somebody says, I always have trouble with postal service and want to see the physical package, even if I have picture evidence. Any advice? So the postal service pretty much quit paying out on claims. And
they make it as hard as possible.
I think this is part of the reason that they are getting rid of priority, because with priority, they would tout that they had insurance, and then they decided they just didn't want to pay out on those claims. I quit getting paid. They used to pay all the time, and I would say probably about 6 years ago, they kind of quit paying out on claims.
And on your question, Mass, and we've heard it before, that I think is hilarious, is they say, oh, well, I want to see the physical package. Okay, bring it back to me.
Well, and that's the other thing they started doing. So what they started doing with the Postal Service is say I send a package to Kirk, and he calls me and he says, Aaron, my package broke. The Postal Service would come back to me and say, well, Kirk needs to take that to his local post office so they can inspect it. Okay, nobody's going to do that. Yeah. And they know nobody's going to do that. And even if they do it, they're probably not going to pay out on it anyway. So unfortunately with the Postal Service, I do still file claims, especially for lost packages, because sometimes they are notorious for keeping a package at a postal facility for 10 days and not delivering it on time. You should always file for that. They will pay on that, but on breakage.
That's one of the other advantages, I think, with UPS Smart Post.
Yeah.
Because you're sending it as a UPS package. If the post office does anything with it, it's still going to be a UPS claim because you paid UPS.
But for us, we're using Shipping Easy, and Smart Post runs through Shipping Easy's number. So then you have to file the claim 3 shipping easy, which isn't hard. They make it really easy, but it's pretty rare that I get a payment on that. But I always say file anyway, because they need to know when they're messing up. LTL shipping. So if you don't know what LTL is, it's less than truckload. So this may not apply to many of you, but this is if you have larger wholesaler pallets that you're sending, this is how you would send those items. You need to make sure you use a trusted carrier. You can use what's called an LTL broker. So what an LTL broker will do is they'll go out and they'll talk to 10 different trucking companies and they'll get you the best price of those 10. We tend to use Old Dominion. We have a really good connection here near Hickman. And Old Dominion, quite frankly, is the best in the industry worldwide. They're just amazing. And everybody accepts them and they have very fast service. So that's why we use them. But a typical pallet, like with Old Dominion, will cost you at least $250, up to $500 a pallet. There are some local carriers like Panama Transfer out of Iowa, where we can send stuff for less than $100. But they have a limited service area. So
And that's all based on weight and distance.
it's all based on a standard pallet is 48 by 40, 48 inches by 40 inches. Pallet rates mean that that pallet's going to cost you the same amount no matter how much it weighs or how tall it is. Whereas an LTL rate will do like a regular packages. It's based on where it's going and then the size and the weight. And get a rep if you can for LTL shipping. We won't spend too much time on that because it probably doesn't apply to a ton of people, but just wanted to kind of
Mhm.
talk about it.
Ashley, dry ice. No.
We haven't, but I will tell you, I would connect you with Abby with eCreamery. She's a Grow Nebraska member and she has helped some of our other members before. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with eCreamery, but they were on Shark Tank several years ago and they ship only ice cream and they ship it using dry ice. And so she is kind of an expert in that. I will tell you that if you need to use dry ice, that FedEx is typically the
The
best
best service to use,
with
yes.
frozen. They kind of specialize in that, while other places will do it. FedEx is really the place to go for that.
So yeah, Ashley, we can connect you with her. They do it every day. So I'm sure they'll have some insight for you.
So this says, we received this question from Owen. We ship a frozen product, dry ice, insulated coolers, etc. are crazy expensive. Shipping a $25 product with a $25 packaging cost and then adding freight. It just does not work. Any suggestions? Volume is not huge because of total cost. Yeah, that's difficult. One thing you could look into is a 3PL, which is a third-party logistics company. And they may be able to help you with that. So what they do is they specialize in sending these kinds of items. I'm not super familiar with what 3PLs work the best. I could ask Abby and she would maybe have some suggestions for that. And the other thing is too, your packaging cost of $25. You have to try to find either buy in bulk so you can get the price down or find an alternative packaging. We should ask our friends down in Mr. Black. They do it a lot. They sell briskets online all the time.
Black's Barbecue, they have a few locations in Texas. They have restaurants, but yeah, they also ship cooked meat, which has to be dry iced.
But I think if you're buying a Brit, I think they're charging $50
Yeah.
in shipping but people buy it. So they're also kind of
I just make my own.
They're kind of world famous barbecue too. So
So am I.
But he's the one that told me that he's the one that told me that FedEx is the one that you want to use for that kind of service. So yeah, it is difficult. I would recommend too, if you can, the more you can put in your package, the more it's going to be worth to the customer, right? So say you're shipping brisket, instead of just shipping one brisket, say, we'll ship your brisket, but it's got to be 2 and that's it. Because to keep shipping down, that would be your other option. And then here's our contact information. So if you guys need anything, that info email goes to both of us. You can check out our website at barbecuepitlife.com. And that's all we have for today.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. This was very informative. And if you guys come up with more questions, feel free, reach out directly to them. And we just want to thank you guys for being on this webinar. Thank you, Aaron and Kirk, for sharing all of your knowledge and your mishaps along the way so that we can try to prevent them ourselves. If you guys like this training, we want to make a plug in our next Thursday's upcoming trainings. We've got July 24th. It's a panel and it's all about hiring smarter. And so come prepared with questions about when is the best time to hire? How do you hire the right people? How do you kind of vet that out? That'll be a really great panel with 2 experts on it. And then August 24th, we have Dustin Black. Or August 14th, thank you. August 14th, we have Dustin Black, and it's going beyond your logo. So he's got this formula to discover and the transformative impact of strategic brand thinking and learn how clarity around your unique value can drive premium pricing and customer loyalty. So couple more trainings that you're not going to want to miss out on. Be sure to share. They are free and open to anyone who'd like to hop on these. And then again, if you have questions or want to know more about Grow Nebraska and how we might be able to help you elevate your business and get you to your goals, please reach out to Tanya or I. Our contact information is on the screen, and we will look forward to seeing everybody on our next webinar.